Hey everyone, Mike here from NB Creative. So, as you can see, I'm working from home today because of the lockdown in California and throughout the world, but that doesn't mean that we can't get stuff done and get work done. So today I want to go through 10 things that filmmakers can still do even on their downtime or while they're working from home. Now, some of these things are things that you may not have time to do during your day-to-day work, and maybe you do need some downtime in order to get some of these things done. Number one is archive your footage. Now, this does take some time, and so this is the best time to do it because it just lets your computer do the work while you're sleeping or while you're not using your computer. Now, what we do at NV Creative is every day that we shoot, we put all that footage into one folder. And within that folder, we have subfolders based on what cameras we're using. So if we're using the C100, the C200, and maybe a GoPro, we'll have folders saying C100, C200, GoPro, and we'll dump all the footage from that day within the folder. Now, some people do use importing programs to import their footage, which does check the metadata, but we've never had a problem dumping our footage as long as we just drag and drop the entire thing in the SD card, including all the other miscellaneous folders that Canon and other camera companies put into their formatting for their cards. So that's only the way to dump your footage, but you might be asking, okay, but what do you mean by archiving your footage? Well, here's the thing. With us at least, if our footage is more than a few months old, we convert all of our footage into smaller MP4 files so that they're easier to archive and easier to store. For instance, with our C100, it records an AVC HD, which you can transcode into MOV files, but they're still pretty big files. And with our C200, they record to MTS files, which are still big files. And with our Lumix camera, they record to MP4 files, but they're big 4K files, so we need to compress those as well. Now, there are a few programs out there that really easily do this, and we use Macs, so I'll name the ones that we use. So the one that we use for Mac for prepping the footage files to get ready to archive is called Convert Pro. Now, this is a paid app, but they do have a light version for free on the App Store, so I would check it out before you pay, just to make sure that it works for you. The main reason we like this app compared to some other ones is because it's really easy. You can actually drag the entire AVC HD file into the program and it'll separate all the clips rather than having to open the contents and try to grab the clips individually. So what we do, like I said, is we just go one by one per day, per camera, and we just archive everything as MP4 files. So like I said, best practice is to usually do this if the footage is at least 3 months old, so that way you know you really don't need the high quality, highest resolution file since the project that you're working on is probably done. If you're still working on a project, probably don't archive those files yet. And then you just press convert. And it does take some time to convert them based on how big of a file it is and how big of quality it is. Now, you may be wondering why you want to compress your high quality footage files in case you need to reference them later. Well, with us at least, we like to keep all of our footage just in case we need to reference anything or grab the raw footage later, but we really don't need those large high quality files anymore, since if we need to grab one for reference, usually a 1080p MP4 file will be fine for whatever we're going to need it for. So the second thing you can do while you're home kind of coincides with the first thing, and that is to create backups of your footage and your project files. So what we do with all of our project files to make them easier to archive is we delete all the render files, we delete all the optimized media, and then we compress everything in a zip file before we archive it. Now, we use Final Cut Pro X, so it's really easy to delete all these things and get them ready for archive. And the way you can tell that they're ready for archive is by looking at the information on the library size, both in the Finder and in Final Cut Pro, to see when the Finder size changes, then that means it's okay to close the project and the library in Final Cut Pro and archive the file. So when I say to back these up and archive them, yes, backing them up on a hard drive is a good idea, but you should go one step further than that since you have a little bit of time on your hands working from home. Now, the biggest thing I would suggest is to invest in something like a network attached storage server or a NAS. We use Synology. That way you have multiple hard drives and you can archive them on that. That way, if one of the hard drives dies, you won't lose any data. But an even better idea, if you don't have a NAS, or even if you do have a NAS, is to go one step further and make a cloud copy of the backup. Now, the easiest way to do this is, say, to put it on an external hard drive, sign up for Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that, and just have it sync with the cloud so that you always have a version up there. And for footage files at least, as long as you follow the first rule where you compress them into MP4 files, it actually doesn't take up that much space. We actually just got done converting 5 years worth of footage from MOV files to MP4 files with minimal loss in quality, and it actually only took up maybe 500 gigabytes to compress all of that and then upload it. Now, this is really easy to do if you have something like Dropbox or Google Drive, since terabyte or even 2 terabyte plans are pretty cheap nowadays. And one of the biggest reasons to do this while you're working from home is just the time. It takes time to upload all the footage and sync all the stuff to the cloud. So you might as well just have it going in the background for the month or for however long the lockdown lasts. You might as well have your computer working for you and saving those files. So the third thing that you might want to look into do is upgrading your website. Now, whether it's your portfolio for yourself or maybe your front page for your business, now is a good time to learn maybe some HTML, learn some CSS, or maybe if you don't want to learn either of those, to look into other platforms like Wix or Squarespace, or strikingly, any of those are good if you want an all-in-one package. Now, the reason I say to update your website is because I'm sure you, like most people that are in the creative industry, they see other websites or they see other features on websites that they really like, and they just don't have time to implement those or do a complete website overhaul. But because of the lockdowns and because people are struggling for work, a lot of those internet companies are giving great deals on hosting and other benefits so that it really helps you to update your website and sign up for their services. Number 4 is to get yourself organized. So for a few years now, Envy's been using a program called Airtable to manage all of our projects so that we make sure that we're on time and that everybody on the team is coordinating with each other and making sure things are on the right track to get delivered and done. Now, there are a lot of other project management softwares out there, but we just found for our workflow and for the amount of projects that we're normally doing, Airtable is the best for what we need. The way we came across Airtable was actually a few years ago when we were running behind on a lot of projects and we were even late delivering on some, and we needed a really good project management software just to make sure that we were getting everything delivered on time. Now, one of the reasons I say to do this while you have time at home is because, at least for us, I had to go through maybe 10 different project management softwares and really use them for at least a few hours each to go through what our normal workflow is to see if they would work for us. So it actually took me a few days of going through each one, and Airtable knocked it out of the park, and we've been using it ever since. I'm actually going to be coming out with a video soon about different software that filmmakers can use to make their life and workflow a lot easier, and Airtable is going to be one of them. So I'll do a little more of a deep dive in that video. Number 5 is to upgrade your hardware. Now, whether that means on your computer or your server, now's a good time to really open up your computer or server and really upgrade your hardware. Now, I know a lot of people put this off because it does involve shutting down your stuff and really getting in there and doing some testing after it's already done. And maybe if it doesn't work, you have to go back and you have to test it again and make sure it works before you can move on and actually use it again. So now is the perfect time to get all that done. A lot of websites are having deals on different components and everything. So maybe now is a good time to just sit down in your spare time or while you're working from home and really maybe get all the hardware upgrades you need to get done. For us, we all work on iMacs, both in the studio and most of us at home. So really the only thing we can upgrade by ourselves is the RAM. Now, we are pretty tech savvy and we have upgraded, say, the internal SSD after our iMacs have passed their warranty period, but that's a little more advanced, and normally there are computer shops nearby that have all the parts and ready to go, and if you hand them, say, an SSD, they'll do it in a couple days and only charge $100 or two. But for a lot of you that use PCs, which we do have a couple PCs for very certain specific tasks at the studio, now's a perfect time to really get in there, upgrade your components, and really get it working to the maximum amount that you possibly can. In regards to servers, again, we use Synology servers, so maybe if you have a server, now's the perfect time to back up all your data, maybe add more storage to the server, and maybe add more RAM to the server. And if you really want to go all out, get a 10 gigabit switch so that you can edit or move files over your network at the fastest speed possible. So for number 6, it's something that may take you away from your creativity for a little bit, but now is the perfect time to get it done since you have some time, and that is to send your camera in for service. Now, if you're not familiar with this or you haven't done it before, basically a lot of cameras, they do need service from time to time just so that the camera manufacturer can clean it up, maybe clean the sensor, get all the dust out of it, and making sure that it's working in peak performance. Now, some camera manufacturers do this free of charge, some only cost maybe 50 or 100 bucks, and for the cinema cameras, they do charge a few $100s, but they do a really great job of taking it completely apart. At least with Canon, when we send in ours just for a tune-up, they completely take it apart, they clean out all the fans, they make sure everything is working great, and then when we get it back, normally it looks brand new. Now, depending on what kind of camera you have, there may be service centers that you can actually take it into, but because of all the social distancing, it's really easy to just call them up, ask them that you want to do a service, and coordinate with them on shipping it to them, and normally they ship it back within a week or two. Now, even though a lot of our cameras are our babies, this is the perfect time to actually get it cleaned up and get the maintenance it really needs so that once we're all back to work as normal, then we're good to go and we don't have to worry about it. Now with number 7, I am sure you've heard a lot of people say this, but it's just to self-educate a little bit. For instance, with me, I am signed up for Masterclass. I got it as a part of the buy one, get one free subscription, and my brother actually got the other subscription, so we kind of went in together on that. But there are plenty of free classes going on right now for filmmaking and creativity and writing and just everything that you can imagine, and I would really take advantage of some of that. The other thing that you could do for continuing education, like what I'm doing, is I have probably 300 or 400 videos in my watch later playlist on YouTube. So while I'm working or maybe just sitting down or waiting for something to finish transferring or uploading, I'm watching those videos and catching up on YouTube. And a lot of those videos are continuing education, so they're filmmaker related or business related, and it's really helping to catch up on all of those and be able to learn new skills. Now with number 8, it kind of coincides with the stimulus checks that we're all slowly receiving, or maybe the unemployment additional money that you're bringing in while also bringing in money as a freelancer, or maybe you got the grant from the EIDL, and basically it's to do some research and possibly upgrade your gear. Now I'm not going to go too far into which pieces of gear I think you should get, because I'm actually coming out with a video soon about what to get that also will leave you some room left over so you're not spending the entire thing on it. So just keep an eye out for that video coming soon. So number 9 is to get your workflow on track. And with that, I mean just start putting in processes or start thinking about processes that when you go back to work will actually speed up your workflow and just your day-to-day. So for instance, with us, one of the biggest programs I can recommend is called Zapier, and it's kind of a if this then that program. There is a website called If This Then That, but this is for a lot of other stuff, and it can do a lot more than If This Then That. So pretty much at Envy, what we do for our to-do lists is we have our email inbox as our main to-do list. So we try to achieve inbox 0 by getting everything done in our inbox, whether that's replying to clients or looking up new research for products or writing scripts or whatever that may be. We try to make our email inbox our main to-do list. And then from there, we have things like Microsoft To Do and Airtable, which let us see other tasks and other projects we need to accomplish. Now going back to Zapier, you can do a lot of things with it. So for instance, with our emails, we have Zapier send us all certain emails each day that give us tasks that we need to accomplish that day, rather than just like a reminder on your phone or maybe a reminder on your reminders list or a calendar item. These go into your inbox so that once you're done with them, you can just delete them. But those are a good way to really keep everybody on track. They also do things, so for instance, if you have an online form, say a client onboarding form, where they input all of their information, you can have that go into Airtable or Google Sheets, but you can also then have that go into your accounting program and put them in as a new customer. We also have it set up so when clients fill out a creative brief form that we need them to fill out so that we have all the information we need from them to write their script, it goes not only to our emails, but it also goes to our Airtable, and it goes to Google Docs, and it goes to another place, just so there are a lot of places that we have that we know that we have the information backed up on a few different areas, so that when we're writing the script, whoever's working on it, they can go to a few different places to find everything. But again, Zapier works great for a lot of different stuff, and it's really tailored to whatever you need it to do. I think the free plan is good for up to 5 zaps, and a zap is a string of if this then that. We have the starter plan, I think, which is 15 zaps because we've started using it a lot, but I would definitely suggest going and trying them out just to maybe get your workflow a little easier, rather than when you get a piece of information in and then manually putting into a few places. This can do it for you. And the 10th thing is just not to lose hope and to just start being creative in your own aspect, whether that's using your iPhone to film maybe some stock footage, or using your camera, or maybe taking photos. Just try to still be creative in what you're doing, or maybe if you are still working and it doesn't involve going out and shooting or things like that, just keep at it, and the lockdowns will be over soon, hopefully, so just keep at it. Thanks so much everyone for watching, and if you have any suggestions on things that filmmakers can do from home during the lockdown, please leave it in the comments, or let me know if you have any questions about anything that I said in this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.